There's concern and criticism tonight over Democratic strategy to help fund far-right candidates in Republican primaries. The plan is that these candidates, if nominated, would be so toxic for moderate voters that it would help Democrats. The fear is they might actually win an election. The latest is Dan Cox, who CNN projects will win the Republican nomination for governor in Maryland. Cox is an election denier. After the 2020 election, he said the former president should seize voting machines. He also chartered 3 buses to the January 6th rally, and he tweeted during the attack on the Capitol, quote, "Pence is a traitor." According to Open Secrets, a news site that tracks politics and money, Democrats spent more than $1 million on TV ads highlighting the former president's endorsement of Cox, a tactic which was designed to boost his candidacy during the primary with Republicans, but also harm it during the general election. Open Secrets also reports that Democrats have spent nearly $44 million on ad campaigns in at least 5 states: California, Colorado, Pennsylvania, Illinois, as well as Maryland. Joined now by CNN senior political commentator David Axelrod and former senior advisor of President Obama. David, is this a smart strategy?
Well, we'll see. It's certainly been smart in the short run if the goal is to nominate extreme candidates who you think will be easier to beat. But the reason that they're going to these lengths is that this could be a very tough year for Democrats. There are gale force winds blowing in against Democrats, and so they wanted the most beatable candidates. But those gale force winds could actually blow one of these candidates in. And Doug Mastriano in Pennsylvania, who's quite extreme on elections, on abortion, on many other issues, not unlike Cox. He's right. The initial polls in that race after he was nominated had him 4 points behind the Democratic candidate. So, it could be shrewd. Or it could end disastrously, and that's the danger, Anderson.
Democrats have done this before, most notably the 2012 Senate race in Missouri, where Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill helped Republican Congressman Todd Akin to get on the ballot against her. That was successful for her. Has it ever been done on this scale with this much at stake?
No. Yes, that Akin race, that McCaskill race, it took on mythic importance or significance, and people reached into that grab bag this year. And what happened was it started in Pennsylvania in the Mastriano race. It proved successful, though I think Mastriano might have won anyway, and then it transported to Illinois, onto Colorado in a Senate race where it didn't actually work, and these other states. Yesterday was noteworthy because the candidate who won, Cox, I think spent only $21,000 from his own campaign. Wow. The Democratic Governors Association spent over $1 million. And remember, these ads they're not distorting their records. They're amplifying them. Most of these ads are the same. They say too conservative for Maryland, too conservative for Pennsylvania, but it says they're anti-abortion, they're pro-Trump, and they go through all the credentials that will make them objectionable in theory to moderate voters, but are music to the ears of core base Trump-oriented primary voters, and it obviously has worked to great effect in several of these cases.
I mean, it is a little weird to have Democrats, warning that some of these candidates are a threat to democracy, and at the very same time making sure that they win their primaries and are on the ballot in November.
Yeah, listen, Anderson, I spent 30 years in campaigns or thereabouts. And, I'm not an ingenue, and I understand the idea is to win, and I understand the thinking behind these tactics. But as I said earlier, they come with great risk. And, you're handling plutonium here as it relates to democracy. And if something goes wrong, if those gale force winds are such that, a Republican is blown across the finish line, you'll have people like in Pennsylvania, the governor there appoints the Secretary of State who administers the elections. So this has the potential to be a disaster if it goes wrong. So as I said at the beginning, it may seem smart today. It may seem tragically wrong in November.
David, I bet you are mistaken often for an ingenue, though.
No, a lot of people say. You'd be surprised. I get that all the time.
I have to go look up the exact definition of ingenue.
I should too, now that I've said it on national television. But
well, lastly, there's been a lot of reporting about President Trump running for president again. The narrative is more of when he'll announce, when he'll announce, or will he announce, or when, not will. Do you think he will?
I think he will. Yeah, I think, he's not very subtle. He generally signals what he's going to do, and he's been signaling that he's going to do this. And I think all of these legal threats probably encourage him to do it. The ascension of people like DeSantis encourage him to do it. And his need to be the center of attention encourages him to do it. But I'll tell you what, there is a group of people who don't want him to do it, and that's Republican office holders. And there are a group of people who do, and that's Democratic office holders and strategists. If he plunges himself into the middle of these midterm elections, he could change the equation in a dramatic way.
Let's see. David Axelrod, appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Just ahead, the extreme heat that is fueling fires in Europe and forcing Yellowstone National Park to issue a new high-level fire warning. And in China, complicating efforts to maintain their controversial zero-COVID policy. We have a stunning live report from Beijing next.